Prepare for insight.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ugins Inside the Podcast and Vidcast, hosted by Jordan here from Oxide Magic. And today we've got two subjects we're going to broach. One is a subject that is affected us recently on the channel, and the second one is something I've noticed the last couple of days when I've been on the inter-social webs and everything else. So the first one is with regards to shipping delays down to the southern hemisphere, including mainly targeted Australasia and things like that. And the second thing we're going to discuss is the hate that I have seen directed at certain individual content creators on various social media sites, and how I feel that I need to speak out about it. So without further ado, before we get to the heavy stuff, let's discuss the shipping delay and go from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, where does this all begin? This actually all begins with a little bit of a rant. So last Friday, I went to obviously my LGS to pick up the last of my pre-order, which was a set booster box, of Strixhaven, obviously to open on the channel and do the product unboxing, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. Of course, I turned to the LGS and obviously, in usual manner, greet my LGS, and just sort of went up to Tom and asked, "Oh, where's the set I'm here for the set boosters." And he went, yeah, issue with that. I can't give it to you. I went, "Oh, has it been delayed? Has it not come in?" And he went, No, it's come in, but I can't give it to you until the 7th. And I was like, okay. Because obviously the last communication, Wizards of Course did a communication that there was going to be, with Strixhaven, there was going to be a delay down to Australasia. With Australia and New Zealand receiving having a delayed pre-release and some delayed product, which in the whole was very annoying. It was kind of sucky that everyone else was getting all this excited hype around pre-release, and of course it gets to the week after and there's nothing. So in terms of a content creator, who occasionally I do vlogs of pre-releases and stuff like that, I didn't do one for Strixhaven because it kind of wouldn't have worked, and it didn't have the hype around it and ready to go, and so it's kind of, I don't want to say sucky, but it's kind of, the moment has passed. You got to sort of time certain product, and obviously I can record unboxings of stuff in advance and then release them in piecemeal, which is what I do. I tend to film them all sort of roughly within the same 1 day or 2 days time frame, and I'm really excited and hyped, and but occasionally there is a week delay and stuff like that, which is fine. But when obviously I asked the LGS about why he couldn't give it to me, he said, "Oh, it's because it's come through the distributor channels that we're not allowed to sell it until the 7th." And I went, "Okay, all right, well, at least I wasn't going to see all my Aussie buddies get it, yeah." And no, he said, no, the Aussies are allowed to have theirs as of today. And I went, so hang on. So wait a minute, we sort of not allowed, even though Australia are allowed to sell and buy theirs now, we're not, which was very annoying, and it was. In terms of what I think needed to happen, I think that either, one, we were all delayed initially, and then suddenly, oh, well, it comes to this bit, oh no, you can have this, and then you can have it the week after. And I think that's the wrong way that they went about it. Now, I have voiced my concerns to a WotC rep. He has took my feedback on board, and I believe that it's not only me who's also I don't want to say complaint, because complaint's not the right word. I think constructive feedback, I think, is the term I'll go with. I think because obviously we've given the feedback that we have in relation to how it kind of affects us as content creators down this side of the world, that they kind of get it, and I hope they do. And hopefully all this shipping delay nonsense is fixed, because before this, I mean, the last set, Kaldheim, collector boosters didn't turn up into New Zealand at all till about 3 weeks after. So by that point, my LGS said, "Oh, do you want to move it to a Strixhaven one?" Which I gladly did. So that's kind of, but before that, there was even there's a Zendikar one. We got that one fine, but Australia didn't get theirs, which was strange because God knows why. So late for the last, I would say, easily 3 or 4 sets, maybe a bit more than that. There's been big problems. Now, obviously, with last year, there was the pandemic, there was the global issue that nobody likes, and yeah, that caused a lot of problems. I was in an industry at the time where there was shipping delays and problems, and now I moved to a new industry, and there's still shipping delays and problems with things, and everyone wants everything now. And I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I understand that, you order a product. It's hilarious how I can go on certain websites and I can order a product from England or America and have it here within the month. But when you're telling me that when a big company can't get product from place X to place Y in under the same time frame, it's just why. But I understand that shipping works, things get bumped off for shipping all the time. It is the way it is, especially with air freight. In my previous business, air freight, it depends what it is, takes priority sort of thing. Perishables obviously take priority over non-perishable products and stuff like that. So, it all depends, and I'm not going to get into the logistics of that, of course. So, all in all, yes, it's been very annoying in terms of the content on the channel, because obviously I like to have all my product content out within probably the first week. So, right now we're the last content we're waiting on is the set booster box. And obviously I'll get that this week, because this is filmed before I get it. So I will get it, put it up on the channel straight away, sort of thing. I don't know if I'll be able to do it with Ellie, which will be a downside. But, we'll get that content out there straight away and maybe get some views. But it's one of those things. So hopefully WotC are going to take that on board and maybe hopefully get things sorted for the next set. I don't think it'll be ready for... The next set is Modern Horizons 2. I don't personally think it'll be fixed by then. I think we're going to be talking maybe the D&D set, which is I think the D&D set is replacing the core set, or it's the core set based around D&D. I don't know how they're doing it, but that'll be interesting to see how they're going to go with it. So yeah, I think that's all really we're going to discuss about that one, because I would like to delve a bit more into it, but there's no point. There really isn't any point. I mean, we could probably spend hours discussing the failings of shipping, and I'm pretty sure I could easily help half a dozen of my fellow content creators down here for their opinion on the matter, but I don't think it would go into a nice place. And I do want to give WotC their due. They are trying, and I know they're trying, but I think that there's been a miscommunication on the front of, you can't have until the 7th, because I think the website originally said, sometime in May, and of course we all understood that stores were getting at the beginning of May. It's like, Belter, and then it's like, no, you can't sell it to the 7th, and it's like, well, that's not fair. That's kind of not fair. But anyway, these things happen. So, without further ado, let's move on to our second topic, which is attacks on content creators. This one's going to be a little unusual, because I have an opinion on it, and I've kind of been attacked as well as a content creator. My main attacks was, let's go back, generally around the early accesses, when people would be not happy that I've gotten a chance to get on to the new set before they have and stuff like that, even though they're not content creators and stuff like that. But the main hate I've seen recently is revolving around several sort of up-and-coming individuals. Like, I want to say, sort of content creators I see, you have sort of content creators who are sort of like slow burners like myself. I'm not a big channel, but I have had consistent growth throughout the years. So I consider myself like a slow burner in terms of content, which is fine. I'm happy doing this because this is my hobby. It's not... I don't aim to do this or stream in that matter as a full-time gig. That's not what it is. This is my hobby, so I enjoy it. But you have some people who do treat it like a job, and they are very intense. They do lots of content. This is their full-time gig, and they are very passionate about it. And sometimes some people, sometimes even other content creators aren't happy with other content creators, but the most of the time it's generally opinions of the general public. And some of the things I saw recently was revolving around individuals. Obviously, certain content creators have been trying to push up into mythics and commenting, we're at number 11 now, and blah blah blah. And there was lots of hate directed at them because they're a woman, and they said, just because you've got your headphones on and you're playing Magic doesn't make you a Magic player and all this jazz. Now, I have to say I completely disagree with that. I I've been in the gaming industry. Before playing Magic, I used to do Warhammer, and I used to even work for Games Workshop. And you realize working that job that you get all sorts who walk in. I worked in the one of the biggest stores in London. I also worked on one of the coolest stores, which was Covent Garden, and that was one of my favourites. And yeah, you saw all walks of life walk in. Yes, there was the majority. The majority were all men, and the majority of them were, you know, heavy sets, sort of set in their ways. They've been doing the hobby for years, and some of them are law masters and various things like that. But honest to God, you would have some girls walk in, and sometimes there'd be partners who were just interested in doing the painting aspect, which is fine. You would also have girls who had been playing since they were a kid, and quite frankly, they knew some stuff that I didn't know, and I'm what I used to be referred to in my store as the Fluff Bunny. I was the guy who built an army around a theme or an idea, around a book or the lore, and various things like that, and I like to be on theme with my armies. Uh, it's the reason why I have an entire Valhalla Ice Warrior army in metal. It is quite stunning and beautiful, and I've had to convert and do lots of things for it myself. And it's kind of one of those things of I don't agree with the concept that a Magic player, regardless of male or female, has to look like a certain type of individual because one, the game has exploded. The game has changed a lot, even from when I joined in, and I'm a relatively new player. I've only been playing Magic the last, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. I've been playing Magic, so I'm still a new player in my opinion. I'm not brand new, but I have a good idea and a grasp and concept of themes and sets and mechanics and all that jazz. But in terms of I'm not an OG player like the guys who play the 98 format who've been playing it since then and never had a break, and they are OGs and that's fine, but times have moved on, and not the fact is that now Wizards have took it in a direction that is more digital, because let's be honest, Mick Go served its purpose for many years, and it did. It was a good program. It wasn't a good-looking program, but it was a good program, and it was interesting. But the fact is that in terms of what's the word I'm looking for? Marketability. Let's go with marketability. I know that's not the right word, and people can comment on what the right word is. But in terms of what they were trying to do, Wizards were trying to do, they're trying to take in a new format, and Arena does work for that format. Arena is nice, it's slick. Do we all wish that they had every set on it and they could trade cards and it was basically Mick Go's new face? Yes, we do. We do. Honest to God, when I first came out, I was like, no, it's not going to work. It's pointless. I want to be able to trade. I want to be able to get rid of cards. I want to build certain decks. I want to play modern. Blah, 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 blah. That's all I wanted to do. But I see why Wizards are doing it the way they are. Because one, all the new sets going on there, and occasionally they put on some historic cards, historic anthologies. Let's just start sprinkling little bits in here and there. Oh, right, we'll start releasing Jumpstart onto it. Oh, we'll release remastered sets onto it, and various things of that nature. And it is steadily growing and building, and probably in the next 5 years, we might have something the equivalent of Up to Modern on it. Yet I don't think we will, but you never know. And yeah, I don't agree, but the fact is, with this marketability, of course, Magic's been exposed to a lot more people. It's like, for example, when I remember being shocked the first time I found out that Vin Diesel, well-known Hollywood actor, muscle man, big, bound and hard, is a D&D player. The first time I ever heard that, I was like, nah. No, not Vin Diesel. No, it can't be Vin Diesel. Nope. Vin Diesel, big, hard man, nut, loves playing D&D. Who would have thunk it? The fact is, the Magic as well. Lots of people come and go with Magic, and sometimes they're exposed as kids. It's very much like Games Workshop. Sometimes you get exposed as a child, but then you come back to it later on, and suddenly you get this nostalgia, longing effect, and it's like, oh, belter. I can now afford stuff. Because I remember back in the day with Games Workshop, I used to build and paint minis, and I could only ever afford this small amount of stuff, and I had one small army, And, because at the time they were semi-expensive to buy and paint and build and stuff like that. So I only ever had a small army. And of course I wanted the big stuff, and I couldn't ever get the big stuff because it would have to be waiting around for me either to save up or for like a birthday or Christmas or something like that. And it's the same with Magic back in the day, from what I understand. People had, played, and, they just played as they could. And then suddenly they go away, college and various things like that, and then they come back to it, and suddenly got all this expendable cash, like we all do, because we all work jobs now, and suddenly we can buy stuff. But similarly, it's the same thing with Arena. The fact is that people have come back to it, and of course they're like, sweet, I can play it on digital. I don't have to buy the cards. And some people, and given with what happened with the pandemic, not everyone people still don't want to play paper, which is, I understand, because going to a store, you might put yourself at risk and various things like that, and it depends on who's at home and who isn't, and various things of this nature. So there's all these pressures. So playing online is an acceptable way of doing it. But likewise, you open yourself up to, especially from a content creator perspective, you're going to open yourself up to some form of hate. And occasionally that hate comes from other channels, from other members' channels and various things like that, other content creators. And that's fine, sort of thing, I've never really had a beef with anyone. I've had some of their members come to me with a beef because I've had a deck tech that's very similar to the guy that they watch, and it's like, oh no, you mean to tell me that me and another content creator built a deck that's very similar to each other because around this certain mechanic or this certain card? Who would have thunk it? I guarantee you, if you save this card in, you'll find another 5 from other different content creators who've also done maybe similar ideas. It's one of these things, and you do get hate, but I ain't got time for that. I don't care. So water off the ducks back to me. And to be fair, funnily enough, that content creator who I knew, I had a chat with him. I said, oh yeah, did you see this hate? And he went, yeah, I did, and I don't think it's out of order. And yes, your deck is slightly different. I went, yeah. I said, I'm sorry for not having some of it. He said, it's fine, don't worry. And plus, his video still did better in his ratings than mine, because he's a bigger channel, so he didn't give a hoot. I'm pretty sure if I pulled in like 100 or 1,000 more views than him, it'd be a different story, and he wouldn't have been happy. But who cares? It doesn't matter. But yeah. So anyway, yeah, with all this hate that's been going around, funnily enough, I've reached out to some content creators and said, ignore the hate. Haters gonna hate. Can't change anything about it. It's the part of the game. You got to play it now, sort of thing. People are gonna be doing this all the time, so just don't worry about it. And some of them have come back to me saying, "Oh, thanks, dude," and other ones have said, "Yeah, I don't care." And some of them have generally reached out and say, "Have you had any similar experiences?" And I've gone yes and no, and various things like that. So it's been good. I've been sort of using it as an opportunity to chat to more content creators recently, and obviously, hopefully, I'm going to get a couple on for for selfish reasons. I want to come onto the podcast, but that is me. So yeah, all in all, I've been having a lot of interactions lately, and I think some people just need to calm down. There are always going to be what do they call them? Keyboard warriors? They call them keyboard warriors. They're still, I don't know. I feel a bit outdated using that term, so I feel like it's not probably the right term anymore. But, hate is going to hate. There's always going to be a percentage that dislike your videos and various things like that. Even I still get it occasionally. There's routinely, there'll be one person who goes and dislikes my video, and I'm like, I don't care if you do it. If you dislike it, you dislike it. Who gives a hoot? Nobody cares. It's good times. We just want to be able to sit back, chill out, and play Magic on this channel and unbox stuff and various things like that. I mean, I'm just looking forward to do. Obviously, we're now in a new month, which means that the Pauper tournament's got a new month out, and I've looked at my new pool, and I'm very excited. So once I've played my new deck a couple of times, so probably not for the next podcast, the one after, because I've got an interview the next podcast. Touch wood. But yeah, we're going to probably discuss the deck in detail. On paper, it's a very sweet deck. But of course, paper's one thing, actually, in goldfishing, but physically playing it against other players is going to be very different. So I'm very much looking forward to that. So anyway, we're going to leave it there for the podcast today. This is just going to be a short one. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's been following us and commenting on Podbean and on our vidcasts. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please make sure that you obviously go to Podbean and follow us. You can also find us on YouTube if you want to watch the handsome face that is Jordan here from Oxford Magic talk randomly and show pictures of cards and various things while we are discussing stuff. But yeah, apart from that, it's all been good. And yeah, everyone just calm down, relax, just chill out. We're going to have some fun times coming up. We've got some sweet sets coming out. Hopefully, once we've got some more information on Modern Horizons 2, we can discuss some of the spoils of that and various things of that nature. I'm looking forward to it. Also, I'm looking forward to hopefully going to play some tournaments, actual physical paper tournaments here in New Zealand. There's been some conversations had from some LGSs and stuff. They want to organise some big tourneys, and so I'm holding out hope. I'm going to wait and see what the formats are. Hopefully, it's after the rotation has happened, and then we can sort of make a good deck idea from there. Because right now, I'm not a huge fan of Standard. I want it to rotate so we can have some real fresh energy put into it, and that's going to be cool. Anyway, apart from that, everyone's chill out, relax, stay safe, enjoy yourselves. I've been Jordan here from Orcs Magic, signing off doing the Ugins Inside podcast. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.